Hello everyone. Very warm welcome everyone. Very warm welcome to ITLS Academy. As we are starting our lectures on regenerative medicine. So the very first lecture is the stem cell. We will see what the stem cell is and how they work. So let's start. Stem cell. A stem cell is a cell that has the ability to divide or self replicate for indefinite periods. It is a cell that can replicate itself in two cells. This can form two cells from one cell, and this process occurs often throughout the life of the organism. We can say that stem cell is a cell with the unique ability to develop into specialized cell types in the body. In the future, they may be used to replace cells and tissues that have been damaged or lost due to any kind of disease. Next point is stem cells have the potential to develop into mature cells that have characteristic shape and specialized functions, and these functions may include some cells, special cells like heart cells, skin cells, or nerve cells. Stem cell divides it differentiate into various kinds of cells. The process of differentiation is something like it divides into two cells. One cell forms same stem cell as the previous, while the another cell form any differentiated cell. Okay, I just want to make you understand that this one cell is like the previous cell. This is stem cell and this is also stem cell. Although this is also stem cell, but it is differentiated stem cell. It has changed its function, its shape and size and structure, and it is called differentiation of the stem cell. This is differentiated stem cell and this will perform various kinds of functions in the body. So if we talk about the use of stem cells, this is differentiated stem cell. So how we can use this particular stem cell for any purpose? So some use of the stem cells are we use to grow new cells in laboratory to replace damaged organs or tissues. We can also correct parts of organs that don't work properly. Apart from this, we can research cause of genetic defect in cells. We can search for this also. And we can also research how diseases occur or why certain cells develop into cancer cells. So the next point is the most common way to harvest stem cells involves temporarily removing blood, and this blood removed from the body, separating out the stem cell and then returning the blood to the body. Here, to boost the numbers of stem cells in the blood, medication that stimulate their production will be given for about 4 days beforehand. So this was all about basics of stem cell. Let's discuss some another properties of stem cell. Here in this picture you can see stem cell differentiation. This is stem cell. You can see after division it formed two kind of cells. First is stem cell. It will form more stem cells. These more stem cells will look like the previous one. But the next cell that will form after division will be different in shape, size, function, and it may also be different from various other aspects. You can see this stem cell divides. One stem cell formed is just like the previous or parent stem cell, and another stem cell formed is of a differentiated or specialized cells. After differentiation, stem cell can form various kind of cells. You can see this is nerve cell, this is RBC, muscles, and many other kind of cells can be formed by the division and differentiation of the stem cell. So we can see that stem cells are the root of any kind of cells differentiation. The differentiation potential of stem cells. We will see how stem cells differentiate. In this slide, let me show you. You saw various kind of differentiated stem cells. These are differentiated stem cells. Now we are going to see the potential of differentiation, how these stem cells differentiate. So let's see the differentiation potential of stem cells. The very first point is many of the terms used to define stem cells depend on the behavior of the cells. This is the most important point, that the defining properties of the stem cell will depend on the behavior of the cell, and this behavior will be seen in the intact organism. Intact organisms mean in vivo or inside the cell. Also we can see this particular behavior under specific laboratory conditions, and we know that these specific laboratory conditions are also known as in vitro conditions. So the behavior of stem cells in in vivo and in vitro conditions will tell about the defining properties of the stem cell. Stem cell differentiation involves the changing of a cell to a more specialized cell type, involving a switch from proliferation to specialization. This differentiation process involves a succession of alterations in cell morphology, membrane potential, metabolic activity, and signal responsiveness. Next point is differentiation dramatically changes a cell's size, shape, and membrane potential, metabolic activity, and responsiveness to a signal. What does this paragraph means? Okay, let's see. Here you can see these are the differentiated stem cells, but the shape, size of all these cells are different. No cell is looks like the previous one. This cell is different, while the differentiated cells have different shape and size. Also, they have different responsiveness. If this is nerve cell, then this will respond for the functions that are related to neurons or that are related to our brain. While this is RBC, this will this will respond to signals that are related to the blood, to the heart, and many other. Like these cells also will respond to different signals according to their shape, size, and their metabolic activity will also differ. The metabolic activity of nerve cell will be different, of the blood cells will be different, and of the muscle cells will be different. So this is the meaning of that particular paragraph, that they have different cell size, shape, membrane potential, metabolic activity, responsiveness to signals. A greater potency indicates a large number of cell types that can be derived. A cell that can differentiate into all cell types, including the placental tissues, is known as totipotent cell. Totipotent is a type of cell that can form most of the tissues or cells of the body. If we take an example, so the example is the fertilized egg. Fertilized egg, as we know, this forms zygote, and the zygote is a totipotent cell, as the zygote can form the entire body. So zygote is said to be totipotent because it has the potential to generate all the cells and tissues that make up an embryo and that support its development in utero. All of these cells are generated from a single totipotent cell, and this totipotent cell is zygote, and this zygote or fertilized egg forms entire body. Here in this particular picture you can see different type of stem cells. Here totipotent, pluripotent, multipotent and unipotent stem cells are shown. Let's discuss this diagram in detail. This is oocyte, this is sperm. After the fusion, there is formation of zygote. This is zygote that is formed after the fertilization. So zygote is also known as fertilized egg. Okay, so this is zygote. This particular zygote then give rise to morula, and after many stages, this morula forms blastocyst. You can see this is blastocyst and it implants into the uterus for the further development. After the development, this particular blastocyst grows and forms complete human embryo or complete embryo, and that embryo in further upcoming time will form entire body. So here comes that zygote is a totipotent cell that can form entire body, that has the ability to form any of the cell of the body. So we can say that totipotent cells are a type of cell that can form each and every cell of the body. Next comes pluripotent cells. You can see the example for pluripotent cell is inner shell mass. This inner shell mass is derived from the blastocyst stage. This inner cell mass is capable of giving rise to many kind of cells. It can give rise to almost all kind of cells, but not all kind of cells. It cannot give rise to zygote. Also, it cannot form this covering blastocyst. This cannot be formed by pluripotent cells. So we can say that pluripotent cells are a type of cell that can form almost all type of cell except this zygote. Or we can say this is trophoblast, and this trophoblast cannot be formed by pluripotent cells. This inner shell mass you can see can form digestive tissues, nervous tissues, cardiac tissues, and also many more type of tissues. So this pluripotent cell forms inner cell mass. Inner cell mass can give rise to almost all type of cells except this trophoblast. Next comes multipotent cells. Multipotent cells are the kind of cells that can give rise to many variety of cells. As this is digestive tissue, so it can give rise to all the organs or cells or tissues related to digestive system. But it will form only organs that are related to this particular system. This multipotent cell cannot form if it is forming the tissues or cells for the digestive tissues, so it cannot form the systems or organs or cells of the nerve tissues or the cardiac tissues. So it becomes somewhat specialized, and these are multipotent cells. Next comes unipotent cells. Unipotent cells are a type of cells that can give rise to only one kind of cells. Like if these are hematopoietic stem cell, if we take an example, so hematopoietic stem cell will give rise to only cells related to blood or hematopoietic system. Most scientists use the term pluripotent to describe stem cells that can give rise to cells derived from all three embryonic germ layers. And these embryonic germ layers are mesoderm, endoderm, and ectoderm. Pluripotent cells can give rise to all these three layers. But as we have seen in our previous slide, this pluripotent stem cell cannot give rise to trophoblast. So we can say that pluripotent cells can give rise to all of the cell types that make up the body, and embryonic stem cells are considered as pluripotent stem cells. Thus, pluripotent cells have the potential to give rise to any type of cells. This can give rise to any type of cells. A property observed in the natural course of embryonic development and under certain laboratory conditions. Pluripotent cell, another example is multipotent. This is sometimes confused with pluripotent cells. Multipotent cells are not same as pluripotent stem cells. Multipotent stem cells are different from the pluripotent stem cells, although sometimes they are considered as same cells. But multipotent cells can develop into more than one cell type but are more limited than pluripotent cells. These multipotent stem cells these cells have more limitations than pluripotent stem cells. Adult stem cells and cord blood stem cells are considered multipotent. Next comes a unipotent stem cell. As the name indicates, if we divide it in two parts, then it comes uni. Uni means only one. So the unipotent stem cell, a term that is usually applied to a cell in adult organism, means that the cells in question are capable of differentiating along only one lineage. Like for example, if we take example of hematopoietic stem cell, then it will form only cells that are related to hematopoietic system or that are related to blood. So we can say that unipotent stem cells give rise to just one cell type under normal conditions. This process would allow for a steady state of self-renewal for the tissue. However, if the tissue becomes damaged and the replacement of multiple cell types is required, then pluripotent stem cells may become activated to repair the damage. So, if we talk about the embryonic stem cell, the embryonic stem cell is defined by its origin, that is, from one of the earliest stages of the development of the embryo, and this earliest stage is known as blastocyst. So, if we talk about the summary, so here the summary of the properties of stem cells. In this diagram, you can see this is oocyte, this is totipotent stem cell or zygote. Here forms blastocyst and inner cell mass. This inner cell mass is pluripotent stem cell. This inner cell mass forms various type of systems. These systems form multipotent stem cell, and after comes unipotent stem cell. If we take example mesenchymal stem cell, then this is multipotent. After differentiation, this will form bone, cartilage, connective tissues and adipose tissues, as it is mesenchymal stem cell. If we talk about the summary of totipotent, pluripotent, multipotent, oligopotent and unipotent, so first of all we will see totipotent. These can differentiate into embryonic and extra-embryonic cell types. These can construct a complete viable organism, and the example, cell produced by fusion of an egg and sperm, that is zygote. Next comes pluripotent. This can differentiate into nearly all cells. An example is cells derived from any of the three germ layers. Next one is multipotent, and these can differentiate into a number of cells, but only those of a closely related family of cells like circulatory system, nervous system, immune system. These are pluripotent, multipotent. These are examples of pluripotent cells, and from this comes mesenchymal stem cell, and this mesenchymal stem cells forms of various kind of cells. So this is an example of multipotent stem cell. Next comes oligopotent. This is sometimes like multipotent stem cell, and this can differentiate into only a few cells such as lymphoid or myeloid stem cells. Next comes unipotent. These can produce only one cell type of their own. These have property of self-renewal. So this was all about the stem cell and properties of stem cell. This is a brief overview of all that we have studied till now. So you can see this is zygote, and this is a totipotent stem cell. Zygote forms embryo, that is a pluripotent stem cell. This embryo differentiates into tissue stem cell, progenitor cells and many other cells. And these are examples of multipotent stem cell. Finally, here comes terminally differentiated cells. And these terminally differentiated cells are example of unipotent cells. You can see the level of differentiation is going very specified. These are going very specific as the potency comes down. You can see the differentiation of various kind of cells in this particular diagram. So thank you guys for watching this session. For more videos, follow ITLS Academy on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp and LinkedIn. Thank you guys. If you liked this video, then like it, share it and also subscribe our channel ITLS Academy. Thank you very much again.